Welcome back to Boys and Ghouls Film Review, folks. I'm your host, Sarah Stephenson. This is my co-host, Mike Stephenson.
Hi, guys.
So tonight we are continuing where we left off, where we reviewed last time. It was Scream Queens Season 1, and this one is we're continued with Season 2.
Now, Scream Queens Season 1 was released towards the end of 2015, and about 12 months later, Season 2 came out.
Yes.
And mainly the same people, but there were a couple of changes.
Yeah, like one of our lead girls who was playing in Season 1, she could not attend because she had to
study and stuff.
Do her studies at real college.
Yeah, so she had to sort of bow out, so they put her in a nut house or something for the second one.
Yeah. Just a storyline, obviously.
Yeah. So anyway. But the main dickheads, girls, that's the Chanels. They're how would you call it? Really interesting.
Seriously, the Legally Blonde set.
Yeah. Well,
or Mean Girls set.
Mean Girls meets Legally Blonde meets I don't know.
No.
Or Heathers maybe.
I don't know. Every time I think of girls like that come in Click or come in Freeze, they come off as either the Heathers or Mean Girls or just any type of girl who is a nasty bigot.
A nasty person, full of self-importance and doesn't want to study, wants everything handed out to them, rich kid, that's what they are.
So,
anyway, irrespective. Yeah. So we did the first siege the other day. That was at when they were at school, and at the end of it, the girls
were taken to a
mental
institution.
And later on, the real killer, I won't go too much, is caught and confessed to whatever, and they're released. And they are reunited with their old headmistress, who now has made money through books and different things about what happened at the college. So she's made a lot of money, and she's bought an old hospital, which she's trying to do up and make it. Come here, all of you who have got incurable diseases, and we'll cure you, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So they're dragged into this scenario for other reasons.
Yeah,
aside
from the old people in 2015 one, we also include a few actors, famous faces from who rejoined the cast, obviously. Some people you may have seen in 80s and 90s movies and TV series that will patch into the podcast, obviously.
Well, Kirstie Alley shows up in Season 2.
Mm-hmm. Yes, she does.
Yeah. Who's the guy out of Twilight or whatever?
That was Taylor...
Lautner?
Lautner, yeah. He was the Jacob in Twilight, obviously.
Yeah, so he shows up with one of the doctors.
Yeah, the young one.
Yeah, so... Yeah, and John Stamos plays Dr. Holt.
Yeah, you may know him from Full House, playing the uncle, the hot uncle.
What, he's still looking hot for his age. He's girls.
60, pretty good.
50, 60, he's in there somewhere.
Last time we checked, that was yesterday, it was 60. So,
but when he made this, he was 50. Yeah,
he would have been about 50 or 50.
He would have been early 50s when he made, and he was looking pretty damn good for a 50-year-old. I mean, I wish I looked that good.
Or number 56. I mean, this is 2004, so this would have been. He would have been roughly about 50, obviously.
In this, when it was made.
Yes, I was referring to this. I was referring to the fact that this is 2024. His birthday's been announced, so it would have been...
about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
10 years ago.
Yeah, I'm just doing my numbers.
Yeah, but he was he's about 10 years younger than me, I think.
Yeah, he's pretty still hot.
Wow, man, looks good. I look that good. I got no hair, I'm fat,
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. So let's talk about the returned actors and...
Look, I won't say too much because we covered the creators and stuff in the last one. It was created by Ryan Murphy, Brad Felchuk, and Ian Brennan, I believe. So it comes under a comedy, horror, dark comedy, satire, stalker, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's not serious. Believe me, trust me. So yeah, I go through some of the main ones. Emma Roberts plays Chanel Oberlin. She's a head mean girl type blondie sort of
total bitch,
self-absorbed, privileged, blah 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 blah. Now, I go for it. So it's... mate, I get this right because I don't want to double up here of season 1s and season 2s because all the notes are all over the place here.
And the cast are all over the place.
Yeah.
Including newcomers, return characters, blah, blah.
Lee Michelle plays Hester Ulrich, which is Chanel number 6, who's the meanest mean girl, and she's a wild card.
And slasher killer.
And a slasher killer. Oh, don't tell them that. So they've
already seen season 1, and indicate that she was a slasher killer /
anyway,
bad person.
Glenn Powell plays Chad Radwell. He comes back as Chanel's boyfriend, sort of.
Yeah.
Abigail Breslin plays Libby Putney, Chanel number 5. Yeah, so she's in it again. She's cute. I like her.
She's cute. I don't like that how she's treated in this one, but other than that, she's a sweetheart.
Yeah. Kiki Palmer plays Zayday Williams. She's a nice girl who's like a final girl. She's a nice girl. Yeah. And trying hard to be good and work things out and find the killers and stuff. Yeah. Oliver Hudson plays Wes Gardner, which is Grace Gardner, who was in the first season, who was put in the nut house. Well, he's come back to get revenge.
Ooh, don't go there.
But I won't say anything.
Let's not say anything more.
Yeah, we said about Hester, but he reprised his role.
We also find out in this one, and probably in season 1, I don't know, that he's supposedly Hester's father, probably from a
we find out later on.
Yeah.
When he's at college having a good time. Now Billy Lord plays Sadie Stephenson, who is Chanel number 3, and I just love her very, very dry speaking voice. She's so good at it.
She's like a blonde pink version of Daria.
Almost, yeah. And last but not leastly, Jamie Lee Curtis as Dean, Cathy Munsch. And actually, tell you what, I've always liked Jamie Lee. There's something about her. She plays good slasher. She plays good comedy. I saw her in True Lies with Arnold Schwarzenegger. She did an exceptionally good role in that as well. She's in the...
she manages to do good...
Yeah, she's been in horror, slasher movies, serious roles. So she does everything. So she's really good.
Let me see. She's done Halloween,
Yeah.
Prom Night,
and
not Prom Queen, just so you guys know, and Terror Train, the original.
That's right, yeah. But she gets around, and it's busy. But she handles comedy as well as slasher horror stuff. There's a few other people here. I won't go into them all because it gets a bit messy. But like I said, John Stamos is in it. And different people.
Yeah.
And
there was also some famous faces, aside from
Kirstie Alley's in it.
Yeah, and Brooke Shields.
Brooke Shields has a bit of a bit part.
Teeny role.
Yeah.
Well, not teeny role, it's just a cameo.
Well, it's a bit of a cameo. But anyway, irrespective. I'm not going to go into it too much because obviously it's going to be on and on. There's a cast of thousands in this lot.
Yeah.
So I'll take it away, Grizzly.
All right. So this story takes place, I guess, either... maybe a couple of years later, Zayday is working at a is working for a hospital for Dr. Cathy Munsch, her ex-dean, the principal for the college that she used to attend, obviously.
Dean Munsch got an honorarium to make her a doctor, so she's actually bought the hospital. She can't operate on anybody, obviously.
I should jump back a few years. In sort of 1985, during a Halloween party, a couple comes in saying her husband is very unwell and she wants an operation performed on him, blah, blah, blah.
And
but the doctor and his nurse, they don't do anything about this. They take him to a swamp, which is beside the Hope Hospital, and dump his body.
And say he left.
And... pretty much left the costume, which was a Green Meanie or Green Goblin looking monster demon creature on it. And the following year, in 1986, which is the year I was born, obviously, and in that one, a slasher killer goes to the Halloween party and kills the patients and the staff. And then we cross over to many years later, where the hospital was closed and now reopened, called the C.U.R.E.
The C.U.R.E.
where they cure very difficult diseases.
Yeah, if all hell, if you go there and you've lost all hope because the other guys can't help you, come here and we'll try to cure you.
Yeah, some of the diseases in this, I'm not 50% sure. I never had a medical degree, but most of them seem a little far-fetched in some
We won't
parts.
go into it too. We won't go into it too much.
I mean, some of them sound very logical, like blisters all over your face that could be caused by gosh knows what. Anyway, that seems to be... And hair in the most weirdest places. I don't know. Anyway, so it's running by Dr. Cathy, got her medical degree, blah, 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 like Mike says.
She's got an honorarium, not a medical degree. An honorarium means it's like Colonel Sanders wasn't really a colonel, it was an honorarium, okay?
Anyway, she then gets Zayday to become one of the doctors, or not, a junior doctor in training, obviously.
And John Stamos was the real doctor. Yeah.
And we then meet Dr. Cassie, and then we meet, Dr. Brooke Holter, who is the hot doctor in this movie, obviously, and TV series. And of course, Dr. Cathy decides to bring the Chanels on board.
Yeah, when they got out of the nut house, once they found out they didn't actually kill anybody.
Hester came... I guess couldn't hold it in anymore, and was eventually, she was interrogated, and she was placed into a sort of a less Lecter type cell.
A Hannibal Lecter sort of cell, that couldn't hurt anybody.
Yeah, so we think.
Well,
so Cathy invites the Chanels to come to the hospital as training doctors.
No pay, just free room aboard.
Yeah, which is the agreement, obviously.
Yes.
Of course, being the dumb blondes or dumb idiots, these girls don't seem to read the fine print when it comes to this information.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's handed to them.
Who said they could read?
Yeah. Anyway, the girls have learned a little bit of, they kind of were also doing junior orderly jobs, like the cleaning bedpans, stuff like that.
The usual bottom.
The usual stuff. Anyway, most of the time in this series, they kind of just do the orderly stuff, if you will. Not real serious doctoring. Although they assist the doctors in this.
As nurses would. Yeah.
Anyway, during this series, they can kind of meet up with the new villain in this slasher called the Green Meanie. And
what a great name.
And the interesting thing about this one, folks, is just like the Green Meanie, there is multiple slasher killers inside the hospital. Not just one. Like, say, let me see, 1, 2, 3... and possibly 4, I think.
We weren't sure because there was the original one who was working for the wife of the dead guy 30 years ago, but he died, he supposedly.
Anyway, this meanie actually kills patients.
Anybody wants to close the hospital down, they'll kill anybody.
Every time, this last successful case was, I think it was a woman who had... severe hair, she kept growing hair on...
Like a werewolf.
Like a werewolf.
Yeah.
And...
lycanthropy, whatever.
Yeah, and then they decide that it has something to do with her eating habits or something like that.
Well, you can't remember now, whatever.
Anyway, most of the stuff is very different.
They solved her problem,
but...
and everything was going great, but all her hair fell out.
Yeah, and this happened when she was in one of those special bath things. I don't know what they're called. And... Chanel number 5 was there, and of course Chanel number 1 and Chanel number 3, they were both on dates at this time. Chanel's into the Dr. Brooke, the older man doctor, obviously.
And who wouldn't be?
And Chanel number 3 is into our, werewolf one who from Twilight, obviously, who's not bad looking, who has his own set of secrets, as we soon discover. Anyway, Chanel number 5 witnessed the murder of the girl who had a hair problem, obviously, and then we move on to another guy who's got these blisters all over his face. I don't know what the blisters or whatever, or boils.
Yeah.
And of course, in order to get rid of those ones, he has to have laser treatment to remove them, and it's expensive. But luckily enough, the Chanels work out a way to do this. Obviously,
give him a freebie. Mm-hmm. However,
yes, but he eventually. When he was going to go for his treatment, an unknown doctor was going to do the treatment for him, but he kind of slash-dashed with the laser, killing him.
Sliced and diced him very nicely.
Of course, Chanel 5 is disappointed, and throughout the series, they keep telling her, "Oh, get over it. You just lost your boyfriend. Boo, fuck-a-hoo, blah, blah, blah," stuff like that. Chanel and Chanel 3 are still very being insensitive to Chanel 5, accusing her of possible murders. Also, the return police and security guard Denise returns. Obviously,
he started off as a security guard, then the security guard lady and her firm were made police because the police force in the town there was. They sacked them all because they weren't doing a really good job, so he went up a level. By the time he gets to this series, he was his FBI, is he, or something? Or?
Yeah, FBI. Anyway, so in this one, she continues to accuse Zayday as the supposed killer. I think she also suspects Hester. They also go to the cells where Hester is lodging in, and ask her, "Do you know the identity of the Green Meanie?"
Of course, he's telling everybody, "I know who did it," and they're trying to, Hannibal Lecter, Silence of the Lambs. They went there interviewing to get help. Well, the same sort of thing.
Yeah, and like Hannibal Lecter, she has a list of demands. She wants a chance to be moved to this hospital with a room with a view, according to her, obviously. And that's all she probably has a number of other demands, obviously, like maybe a nice TV set to watch more TV. Anyway,
daytime TV. The days
of
our
course,
lives.
they deny her the chance of going to this place because she refuses to continue not telling them who the identity of the killer is, obviously. So. They go back to the hospital, and much more stuff starts to happen, obviously. And soon enough, they cave in, and they allow her to come to the hospital on, provided that she stay, in her cell and stuff like that. Of course, when Halloween comes around, which is the anniversary of the murders from years ago, obviously, and Hester wants to be involved, meaning she wants to come out of her little cell and party. Anyway, eventually, Denise finally caves in and says, "You could stay, as long as you don't leave the hospital." She also gives her one of those special wristbands that allow her to, if she so much as leave the hospital, then they can track her to wherever she is, obviously. Of course, this does not work really well because we don't seem to. At first we don't know where she's gone to, but then we find out she's stolen one of the Chanel's costumes, and she starts going, watching behind the scenes of the killer killing off some people. Also nearly came close to killing Chanel number 5 again, obviously.
Yeah, she gets picked on quite a bit in this show. Yeah.
Oh, yes. And they continue accusing her of killing another person. I should mention Dr. Cathy also has a secret medical problem at the moment, where she kind of went on holidays when she was on a book tour.
Ended up in New Guinea.
Yes.
And she thinks she's eaten human brains. Supposedly can lead to some sort of disease which is terminal.
Yes. So she has 1 year to live, according to her. So she wants to use the time she has left to continue work, but at the same time, probably to try to find a cure for her illness, I like to think. Anyway, meanwhile, while this was happening, Chanel tries to get close to Dr. Brooke, but his secret is that he's got a very psychotic hand, because his original hand, was put into a what do they call it in the sink in America?
Garbage disposal.
Yeah. He got his hand trapped in a garbage disposal, and he ends up getting a replacement hand, which turns out to be a killer's hand.
And they're trying to make out the hand's got the mind of its own, and what's this space, folks?
Yeah. He starts dating Chanel, and he fears that his hand might cause some trouble. Even when the first few murders start occurring, and the pressure is on inside his mind, especially when Chad returns and causes a bit of trouble, where he becomes super jealous of the doctor and even tries to make out, I'm a doctor and I'll be glad to amputate your hand. But Chad is not a doctor, and I don't know what he's doing now, obviously.
I wouldn't trust him to put a Band-Aid on him.
I wouldn't even trust him with a buzzsaw. Or even or a blade, one of those doctor blades, or the surgical blades.
Scalpel.
No, not a scalpel. Those very big saw type ones. I don't think I could trust him with one of those.
The ones that he's cutting through bone.
Yeah, those types of saws you may see. Anyway, of course, he challenges them at every turn, trying to make out who's got the biggest parts, even in a bathroom scene, when.
Yeah, I told him that the wangs.
He then tries to beat the doctor to the punch by proposing to Chanel, and more importantly, he just says, "Here's my prenuptial agreement, blah blah blah. Let's just do it.
Let's get married."
He doesn't use the word married, but it's implied. And soon enough, they get married, and using his family's money's expense, they are about to tie the knot. But unfortunately, something bad happens, where he somehow gets killed off screen, obviously, which is a relief to us all, because I could not stand Chad a minute longer.
Nah.
Also, then the other person who hits the bucket is Denise, but this is during Halloween, obviously, but she doesn't get killed. She gets frozen in one of those.
They put her in cryogenics.
Yes.
Because she got electrocuted using those defibrillator machines.
Yeah, because she got through water on her, and
he zapped her a few times with it and everything, and she passed out, and they thought she might have got brain damage, so they put her in cryogenics so they can wake up later on and fix her up. Well, more of this later.
We do learn that in the will, Chad's will, that it says every money that Chad's family earned. Oh, I should mention, Chad's family, they died in a plane crash, I think. That's what is the term.
The whole lot of them. And Chad became the sole heir of their estate.
Yeah, and seeing as Chanel is never married to him, because they technically, it didn't get close to time.
They were going to be, but they didn't actually get married,
Yeah, and so all the money is going to go to Dr. Cathy's hospital. Don't know how that happened, but there it is.
I lost me a little bit there.
Yeah, it's a bit confusing, because I don't think Chad would have the brain power to actually come up with these solutions.
Yeah, they did mention something about, I can't remember how or why, but anyway.
Anyway, this annoys Chanel, because now that the money is going to Dr. Cathy's hospital, obviously. Anyway, it's not important. So, anyway, moving on. Soon enough, Wes returns to the series, where he was originally dating Cathy for a bit, and I think that she either got bored of him and his. He's
a nice laid back sort of a guy, and she was a bit more intense.
We also learned that Wes's daughter Grace is now, even though he says she was at Stanford, but she's actually in Stanford's nut house,
not the university.
No, it seems that she's took a bad turn because of the previous murders, and it's affected her mind, so she couldn't handle any schoolwork, so she was dragged to a mental institute, and that's the end of her story. Sad enough.
Bugger.
Anyway, but we learned that Wes was one of the killers who was doing the killings, blah, blah, blah. We also learned that Cassidy, who is also the child to the guy who died at the hospital in 1985, and the woman who is his wife, he's the baby. And, of course, for years, she and him were planning on trying to put an end to this hospital and stuff like that.
But it's happy when it closed because they killed all the doctors and nurses and everybody.
Yeah, but now they're killing patients, which have not so much of a connection to the previous murders.
They're out of control. Yeah.
Anyway, so he starts falling in love with Chanel number 3. Obviously,
she's cute.
She's cute, and he also confides in her that he's dead. As in he's cold and stuff like that. But she comes up with a little sort of logical conclusion of why he feels cold and stuff like that. But aside from that, I don't know much about doctoring, so I can't really be sure how much of this information is true and how much is fake.
He convinced himself he was sick or dead, and he created the medical condition in his subconscious mind, which affected his physical body.
Of course,
something like that.
When she finds this information, she also discovers that he was the possible slasher killer. And now she tells this to Chanel number 5, and she's conflicted. Like, she doesn't know she should go ahead, call the police, dob him in, and save everyone's life, or keep his secret and stuff like that. So she kind of swears Chanel 5 to secrecy, to not tell anyone until she works out in her head what to do. Of course, they try to convey this fact to his mother, maybe get off this whole revenge plan sequence, but it doesn't work. She continues to, hate everything about the hospital and hate anyone who's remotely, connected to it. Even though there's no connections because all the doctors from the past have been dead and murdered.
Exactly.
Anyway, Zayday finds out about her and find out about what they're doing, and she gets poisoned and placed inside a well, similar to the one she was in season 1. Well, not really similar. It was a lot deeper.
Yeah, a different sort of scenario, but same sort of thing. She's locking the well, putting shoving in the well again, just like in Silence of the Lambs.
Oops, I did it again. Anyway, she's alive, obviously, temporarily, and of course, Cassie's mother is looking after her, Of course, I think when her son is starting to have second thoughts about the plan, she starts realizing that maybe she was in the wrong too. I should mention the other slasher killer, the other Green Meanie, is the nurse Ingrid, who turns out she has a very big original story behind this murder thing. She wants to murder the Chanels because they killed her sister, who was the maid from the sorority, who was killed in the first episode in season 1, I think.
Yeah, they shoved the face into some oil in a deep fryer type thing, which supposedly they thought wasn't on, and they burnt the crap out of the face. Obviously, she had a heart attack from the pain and everything. So
so she wants to dispose of them. Of course, the Chanels, they come up with a solution where they decide to sort of gain new followers, new Chanels, to become sort of cannon fodder. Yeah. They use the term just like we do and sort of what filmmakers would call it too.
You're expendable. We're going to kill you in the scene too.
Yeah. I swear some of the bits of dialogue are similar to the conversations you actually hear in movie reviews and stuff like that, and probably what filmmakers often discuss with their script writers.
Yeah, when we need a cast of 1,000, they're going to be cannon fodder. We're going to have a war on.
Yes.
Another dead body over there, please. Yeah, that sort of stuff. Yeah.
So anyway, they come with say about 6 new Chanels, I think it was, and of course, let me see. About 3 of them, I think, got killed. Obviously, or more than that. I'm not sure. I wasn't paying attention. I mean, most of these girls were, like Mike says, cannon slaughter.
Yeah,
and we can't really keep track of them because they're not very you don't focus on them. Anyway, soon enough, Nurse Ingrid comes up with a plan to dispose of the hospital and the Chanels and all any other witnesses in one fell swoop by using a bomb and using fertilizer, which is usually indicated that it is a partial ingredient when you're making a bomb, according to some people.
What he said, the stuff in the swamp was composting very nicely, and it was highly volatile, probably because for nitrates and sulfates and different things, all those things are explosive, inflammable sort of stuff, yeah. And so Nursey gets the idea to use this, doesn't she?
Yeah. Meanwhile, Wes eventually realizes he gets really annoyed that the Chanels are doing great at this hospital, and when they get called up to do a TV appearance in a special, appearance in a special TV series like that talks about doctoring and stuff like that, like Oprah, only no psych.
Yeah,
or
it's a doctor show.
Yeah, where, of course, the character is played by Brooke Shields, obviously. I recognized her right off the fly, even though she's gotten older and stuff like that, and she's probably older now in photos.
Well, not 10 years ago, so yeah.
Anyway, so she somehow gets poisoned by, I guess, Wes and Casey.
Wes somebody makes a cup of poison coffee for Chanel to drink.
Yeah.
And they put it next to Chanel for Chanel to drink, and Dr. Lovin grabs it because she's thirsty. She sculls it, and a couple of seconds later, she's throwing up and dropping dead on the floor.
Yeah,
didn't work out properly, though.
Yeah, instead of saying, "Oh well, that's show business for you," they decide to go ahead and film the thing at this operation and say the show must go on. So it goes well, and Chanel #1. She impresses the producers with her acting and her stage presence.
Yes, she looks so good on video.
And once the operation was done, which turned out to be a very big success, the girls are praised, and the producer, approaches them saying, "We want you guys to be our new hosts for this our TV series."
So Chanel #1 and Chanel #3.
Well, they didn't imply which one's going to go.
No, end up at the TV station.
Yes. Yeah, anyway, they're excited, and Chanel realizes that she's going to get the chance to live out her dream of being a TV host. I think that was...
She wanted to be famous, like, on social media and stuff.
Yeah, she's already done a lot of influencer stuff,
that sort of stuff,
mention, and most of it's really creepy stuff when you think about it. Anyway. Inga then tells them that she's invited them downstairs in the basement for a cup of champagne.
Yeah, a special celebration or something like that.
So they're all invited downstairs, and they are locked inside the cell. And the champagne she promised turned out to be cider.
Cider, yeah, sorry, yeah.
Anyway, soon enough, Zayday appears along with Casey's mum, and I think Casey's mum realizes that this hospital is doing much better than it was 30 years ago. And she decides to side with the good guys, but she's too late because she gets shot by Ingrid. Anyway, soon enough, they were placed inside the cell, and she makes her escape, of course, and this is where Denise, she kind of wakes up, her cell.
When Ingrid was actually in the basement, she unplugged the corroding machine accidentally, and she defrosted.
Yeah, and soon enough, she sort of defuses the bomb, obviously.
Accidentally. Well, no, she didn't. I didn't know what wire to pull out. I haven't got my glasses on, so she said, "Oh, any, mini, mo," pretty much, and she grabbed a wire and
pull it out,
and it worked.
Anyway, then the group chase after Ingrid, and as she's heading out the door, she throws. I think it was a machete. It looked like a machete. So, but luckily, it was going to hit Chanel #3. But luckily enough, Casey appears and he jumps in front of her, and he dies. And this is sort of redemption for him, according to Chanel #3. Although the others just scoff and say, "Nah." But eventually, they continue chasing after Ingrid, but she then slips into some quicksand, and they all think maybe we should just leave her there, obviously. So they all make a vote saying, who votes to leave her? Raise your hand. And no vote for her to save her. But eventually, Dr. Casey changes her mind at the last minute and tries to help her out. But unfortunately, we're a little too late because Ingrid begins to slip under the water and drowns. Soon enough, the police arrived, gave statements, stuff like that. I should mention at this point that Dr. Brooke is actually married to Dr. Cathy. And
yes, he thought she's going to die really soon, out a month to live, so he thought, I'll marry her, then she will die, and I'll get all her money, and then I can marry Chanel number 1 if I feel like it.
Yeah.
No, if I feel like it, or do whatever I like with the money, yeah.
It seems that Hester, after she escaped from the when she escaped during Halloween, she kind of hid in the Chanel's house for a bit, and she kind of cooks Dr. Brooke to become her accomplice. And we also learned that he did get a hand amputation from Casey. But we learned that it was all in his head.
Yeah, so he really is a homicidal maniac.
Yeah, and she persuades him to try to steal the money and to join her on Blood Island.
Yeah.
Where they buy it, and there they continue their killing in a private
manner. Yeah, getting people to come to the island. Unintentional victims. Yeah.
Yes.
Shipwrecks are really good.
Yeah. And they also have a butler, probably giving them margaritas and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. Margaritas. Yeah.
Anyway, they can afford it, considering the fact that the money they got from Dr. Cathy would also...
they milked her account.
It would be the same money she got from the book publishing thingy.
Well, she might have got book publishing plus possibly
Chad's money.
Yeah.
Which could have been quite a great deal of money.
So she got all of it. So
they're practically
Hester dressed up as Dr. Cathy, and she went there and
bought the money out.
I want the money out. I'd eat it myself. Got the money. I don't know how she would have done it. It would have been a bank transfer.
She looks so funny looking. It was even fake. She even had a fake ID, I think it was,
and
which is how she
took all the money out of the bank account. But Dr. Cathy.
She jumps back, obviously.
She jumps back a little bit. She sells the hospital, makes food dolls, opens a clinic there.
That deals with women who have
sexual problems.
And
why not?
Zayday and Chanel number 5, they continue running the C.U.R.E. hospital.
Well, not running it; they're part of it, working there.
There's Chanel also kind of passed, I guess, her hospital exams, and she's very knowledgeble, unlike her sisters.
It's funny, she was a knucklehead with them. But when they had to study up for the medical exam, she really blitzed it, and she actually got the highest mark without cheating. And the other two, Chanel number 1, number 3, had little earphones in, and the 2 doctors were giving them all the answers, and they still didn't do as good as Chanel number 5, who got her passed based on her own competence.
Yeah.
How's that? Very good. And everyone thought, get over it. We passed too, but she didn't cheat like they did.
Yeah. So Chanel is now a host for that doctor show I told you guys about, and Chanel number 3 is now the executive producer in charge of it.
Yep.
Meaning both... She's going to get 50% of whatever takings.
No, whatever percentage she gets, 20% or 30%, whatever it is,
Yes. In other words, Chanel is now wealthy again, according to her car plate that says rich again.
Rich again,
Yeah. Not really original.
She would be making lots of money being a television show host and whatever, As
she's heading to her car in this ending scene, she gets into a car and she sees a KKT box that indicates back to season 1 about the
Kappa Tau, whatever.
Yeah, the sorority house she was in. And we see a glimmer of the Red Devil, the original killer from season 1.
In the back seat.
And we hear a scream, and that was the end of season 2.
A quick fade out.
I should mention that the last time in season 1, there was a bit of a brief glimmer of the Red Devil in that one, but it indicated that Chad dressed up as the Red Devil to scare her in the mental institute, and he did it again in halfway through.
But he couldn't do it this time because Chad is dead.
My only guess, and it's a hint I told Mike this when we watched the season 2, I think that it might be Grace conducting her own revenge.
Yeah,
it could be
possibly.
my guess, because that would be my only explanation behind it.
Never no luck. Carry on the good work, but nothing ever happened. There's no sequel.
Yeah,
there's no season 3. So
it's been. Let me see. This is 2016. So let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 years so far, and we have not seen a continuation, or at least a third season, or an explanation of who this new Red Devil is. It's not important, I guess, but it's still. I like the jump scare in the end of this.
Yeah, it would have been good to have a season 3 because it was going really, really good, but leaving it hanging there too was it imagination? Was it that girl you just mentioned, or was it the one who got? We didn't mention the girl at the beginning who actually got some acid sprayed on her. She thought it was tanning solution. Someone changed the chemicals in it, and she sprayed her body with acid, and she's all scarred. And she could have done it too, you know.
Yeah, too. But I like to think, seeing as Wes was returned, I like to think that after he got killed, even though that was more of he killed himself because he was going to get ganged up by these two.
He was going to be thrown into this hot vat of boiling oil type thing, which had been cooking away merrily, so he just fell back into it. And I would have grabbed the naughty nurse, and I would have grabbed her and thrown her in with me.
But
if I'm going to go, I'll take somebody with me. So why
if she was killed off, then it would lose its lead.
It would have been a very short series.
It would lose the lead mean guy. I mean, Cassie.
You needed the momentum. You needed
it's pretty obviously the guy who, the Dr. Cassidy, was not going to continue his murder spree. Obviously, he didn't felt like he had the heart.
So he's doing it for his mum more than anything, and he didn't really want to hurt Chanel number 3 because he's falling in love with her. So he said, I want to give it up, and Mum didn't want him to, and then Mum started to change, and she was softening, and he was starting to soften, and naughty nurse was not, and Wes, he really just wanted to get revenge for his daughter going to that house, so he didn't care about everybody else being killed. He just wanted to get rid of the Snells. So
even if it meant killing a few patients that he didn't know on the way.
A bit of extras make it look good.
Oh yeah, so
anyway, irrespective. It was a good fun series.
Yeah,
that season was interesting.
It was interesting. The laughs were great, but I think that's why it kind of canned in this one, because I think the humor was dragging too long or something like that.
To me, it was funny, but I think it was running out of ideas to make it funny. There's so many times the mean girls be mean girls. There's so much empty-headedness they can throw at you before it gets boring.
Yeah, consider the fact that there's no character development for the mean girls.
Except number 5 was becoming smarter and leaning towards being a doctor. The other two were just saying exactly the same all the way through it. They weren't getting any. They weren't maturing. They weren't developing. They're just going to be. And we're hoping. I hope someone kills her. Yeah. And they didn't. No.
Well, I like to hope. Wishful thinking that by the final episode, we may have gotten our wish.
She might have died in the car, but we don't know.
Yeah.
It would have been nice, but yeah.
It could have been just a dream, like.
Well, no, it may not have been a dream. It could have been, like I said. What happened to it? Did she die? Did she not die? Leave it hanging. Yeah, so a good ending.
Yeah. So what? Can we ask? Can we check? Oh wait, we probably don't have reception, do we? I mean, unless we've already tried.
I think the reception was pretty average. Yeah, average. It was good, but it wasn't great. Yeah. Nothing major.
It's probably the same thing as last time.
I don't think I had it before, and blah blah. Yeah, but average to good. How's that? But not great. How's that?
Yeah.
Look, it's fun. That's the whole point. It's fun. It's not serious.
Yeah.
But I think it was running its course by the end of the second season.
Yeah.
I think they're running out of funny bits to add to it.
Yeah.
In the first season, it was fresh. Second season, I thought, well, let's make another season, see if we can keep the momentum going. And if you start running out of fresh ideas and start relying on what we've already done and keeping the same sort of thing going, it can be a little bit boring and tiring for the writers to. The thing broke, did it?
Yeah.
Well, hold it in your hand, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, her microphone hold just broke. It's broke. Just hold the microphone in your hand. I just said.
Okay, sorry.
Don't repair it. Yeah, so it gets to a stage where it's. What do? You either make it boring or you can it. So I think they canned it after the second season because it was getting too hard to write.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that it continued just using the same thing, making Mean Girls versus the killer, who's coming out on top? Well, I won't answer that question because it'll come off as sexist or gross. But I gotta admit, the fact that she turned out to be, it's hard to like such a character when actually you because most of the time Mean Girl type characters like that, you wishing that the killer would knock them off most of the time in these movies and TV series.
Yes.
And when such a thing doesn't happen in such a project, you begin to wish, oh, how boring. We had, but I just feel like that it would have been best if there would have been a few more likable characters. I mean, someone you could cheer on and hope they will survive.
Anyway.
But it's a little hard to have that if you don't include those types of characters. It seems like in this one, it seems to have a lot of characters you dislike. And I'm never going to say this before, but even Jamie Lee Curtis's character, I didn't really want to cheer for. I was a little sad that she...
No, I like that she's playing a good role, but yeah, she's being a naughty... I normally see her in a nice role, but yeah.
Yes.
She's playing a naughty role, but anyway, look, irrespective. We're going to grade it now?
Yes, might as well. But it's going to be very low for me, I'm sad to say.
I'm going to still give it 8.5 because I did like it, but I think it was getting a little bit... I'd say stale. Is that a good word for it? A little bit stale by them because the jokes weren't that fresh anymore, and I think it was getting a bit tired. So yeah, 8.5. I'm not going to take any more. I mean, everything was good. I mean, all acted good.
Yeah,
they kept the roles going. But
the music
I think
was great
struggling.
too.
Yeah,
the music was interesting.
It was a bit period music.
It's a mixture of 70s, 80s, and 90s music.
Well, that period, the 80s. I think 80s.
Considering that the killer's origin story was back in 1986 and something, whatever, or 1985, depending on who's telling the story.
Had some good music.
Yeah.
Anyway, irrespective, what are you going to grade that?
I'm going to give it a low point. I'm sad to say. I mean, I like the Zayday, and I like the funny bits, the slapsticks, and the fact the killer is a bit on the weird side, but still interesting. So I'm going to give it 7.5 out of 10 myself.
Well, there you go then.
I mean, I'm sorry if it's a low point for me, but I didn't like how the Chanels continue to be, pig-headed, lame, and self-absorbed, and
me.
spineless. If that's the word I can think of.
Whatever. Okay, enough.
All right, that's about it from me.
I'm not going to dig. I didn't write down the availability for it this time because I'm pretty sure yesterday I think season 1 and season 2 are both available on eBay and Amazon. I think you can rent them both maybe on Amazon. But look, it's probably on Hulu and different places like that, other streaming services and stuff. So yeah. If you look for it, you'll find it. But it's Scream Queens, TV series with Jamie Lee Curtis, 2015 and 2016 respectively for the two series.
You're quite right.
So It's good value, fun stuff. It's not over the top, but it's not boring either. So it's just it's pleasant enough to watch. Yes.
Yeah. Next time we are going to review another sorority, not a TV series, so you guys know.
OPG.
It's more of a movie of a 1970s classic called I won't tell you now because it's about
secret.
sororities, and it deals with a bunch of supernatural horror stuff.
It's a bit like C.U.R.E, that one? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, a bit like a C.U.R.E sort of girl with a bit of telekinesis and stuff. Yeah.
As I said in the past, in those days, people kind of brought out the supernatural kids who have supernatural abilities, but at the same time get bullied by some evil, nasty prick at school.
Yeah, exactly. Now, okay, do you want to kill it now?
Yes, I will. So, guys, thanks for listening to our podcast, and we'll see you guys for our next one, obviously, which I hope will be very soon. So, this is Sarah Stephenson.
And Michael.
Saying see you guys around on Boys and Ghouls Film Review. Bye for now, and have a good week.
Bye.